Hi, friends. As I said in my conclusion to the first part, here is the summary of the second part of the poem, The Wreck of the Titanic, which it describes the helplessness of those who were left on board and the awfully grand view of the Titanic sinking to the depths of the Atlantic and the frantic efforts of the captain and the crew to save as many as possible. Let's get started with it. Hi friends, now let's come to the summary of stanzas 7 to 10. So far we have covered the explanation of stanzas 1 to 6. Let's get started with it. See, the lifeboats filled with women and children were lowered and they moved away. With that, all those who were left on board lost all hope of escape or being saved. Now their only hope was eternity or life after death. Titanic slowly sank to the depths of the Atlantic. The music band of Titanic went on playing the tune, Nearer My God to Thee, their only hope being God Almighty. Coming to stanza 8, the scene of the Titanic singing, the poet says, was so awfully grand with her band playing on board. The poet credits all glory to the captain, Mr. Smith, and the crew. They reminded him of Trafalgar's heroes. That is, the reference is to the Battle of Trafalgar 1805 between British Royal Navy and the combined fleet of France and Spain, in which Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson led the British fleet to victory but was fatally wounded. Coming to stanza 9, it also brought to the poet's mind other historical events where men exhibited great courage, like that of Alama and the great Battle of Waterloo, the charge of the Light Brigade, and Jim Bloodsoe, the hero's act on the Prairie Ballet. Alama is a reference to the defense put up by the Texan rebels. That means the rebels of Texas. The Texan rebels against the much larger Mexican army. The rebels were killed, but it became a symbol of bravery and sacrifice, and the famous cry, "Remember the Alamo," rallied the Texan cause, leading to their final victory at the Battle of San Jacinto. Waterloo is again a reference to the Battle of Waterloo fought on 18 June 1815 between the combined forces of Great Britain and Prussia, led by the Duke of Wellington and Field Marshal Gabbard von Blücher, and the French army led by Napoleon Bonaparte. It marked the end of Napoleonic wars and a significant shift in European politics and geography. Jim Bloodsoe is again the reference to the title character in a poem written by John Hay in 1871, a heroic steamboat engineer who sacrificed his life to save his passengers, and it's a portrayal of a working class hero. Prairie Ballet is probably a reference to a heroic act that took place in the steamboat prairie belly. Coming to stanza 10, the last stanza, the poet concludes saying, along with those other historical events, the Titanic story shall ever remain fresh in people's mind. Now, coming to a brief critical appreciation, the wreck of the Titanic is written in a narrative style in honor of the great act of courage and heroism shown by Captain Smith and the crew. Titanic was a passenger liner operated by White Star Line Britain and wrecked took place on 15th April 1912 on its first voyage. The poet gives us a picturesque description of the voyage from the very beginning to its wreck. The poem presents the helplessness of the passengers and the instantaneous reactions of the captain and the crew at the face of a great mishap. It was a magnificent ship, and the poet calls it a porm of iron and steel, which is an effective use of a metaphor. The poem is also elegiac in tune, expressing the grief in the loss of the great heroes and praising the heroism exposed in the tragedy. The poem follows a fixed rhyme scheme and uses simple selective words for the narration. The use of poetical devices like metaphor, personification, etc. add to the beauty of the poem. The poem glorifies themes like duty, patriotism, heroism, and bravery. The author is all praise for the selfless sacrifice of the captain and the crew. He seems to say that service to humanity is a noble act demanding great sacrifice. Titanic, the wreck of the Titanic symbolizes the human hubris, that is, excessive pride, arrogance, and overconfidence, often leading to a downfall or disaster. And it also has its theme like technological failure, division and social inequality, fragility of human life, safety and unpreparedness, and finally helplessness of men. The poem, The Wreck of the Titanic, even when it glorifies the heroism of the captain and the crew, is a warning against the human hubris, often leading to disasters and downfalls, and the helplessness of man against the forces of nature. Thank you for watching, and I will be back with another poem included in the syllabus for +1 2024. That is Death, the Leveler, written by James Shirley. Kindly subscribe my channel if you haven't done it so far, clicking on at inspoenglish.edu. Thank you and goodbye till we meet again.